So our guest for today is Dr. Adetunji Adenekom, and he is the Vice Chairman, Nigerian Medical Association, Lagos State Branch. You're welcome to the show.
Can you give us a brief definition of what exactly heat wave is?
Okay, thank you for the question. I must say that there's no worldwide accepted definition of heat wave, but there's a description that is around it. And it occurs when a system of high atmospheric pressure builds up in the air and it moves. That's why it's a wave. It moves. And when it moves to an area, it is believed that that area will suffer an heat wave. But the issues are that is not just the only problem. The other thing is that when it builds up and traps hair, the hair or the atmospheric, in the higher part of the atmospheric region, begin to move towards the ground. And the sunlight that hits the ground, the heat coming from it are supposed to go up to formation of cloud and rain for you. But they get trapped somewhere. So there's a closed system, kind of, in which the heat coming from up is not going up, coming from the ground is not going up. And the one up has built up in such a pressure that it keeps that heat down. And there's no way for them to form a cloud or bring any rain. So eventually, they are all trapped in a closed system and they move in that manner. That's why they call it a heat wave. And it has all its effects and ways to try and work around it. It's a period of time, really.
Okay. So there's a message, basically, a broadcast message that has been going around, and they've been saying on WhatsApp, and they've been saying that to survive, basically, in this heat wave, you have to put a pail of water in your room to absorb the heat and cause some moisture.
Anyway, that's the myth.
Okay.
The issues are that, I'll ask one question. If there is a lake, are you telling me those in that area don't suffer heat wave? Of course, it may be reduced if you are living towards the beaches and the oceans and because at least the water has a cooling effect on you. But when you notice heat wave more, it is worse in the night. All of us in the night should be cooler. But in the night, you see that it's very hot. That's to tell you what has gone on in the day. But when people say about putting water in a bucket, that does not really absorb any heat for you. What bucket? Facing the roof or facing the atmosphere?
It's in the room, so it's basically facing the roof.
Yeah, it's facing the roof. Where is you can trap the heat from?
And also
it's
they
just
said you should avoid eating meat.
I'm not sure that when you have a heat wave going on, there are things you should avoid. When it comes to food, it's not about food. I know there are drinks you can't avoid. But when it comes to food, we only encourage you to eat more of a particular set of food, which are the fruits and all, vegetables, to help you. But to say don't eat that one, don't eat this one, those are all myths.
Okay, so at some point, people get confused about heat exhaustion and heat wave. Please, what is the difference between heat exhaustion and heat wave?
All right, the heat exhaustion is, you mean heat wave, heat stroke?
Heat stroke, wave.
Yeah.
Okay, heat stroke.
Yes, they are all symptoms. Heat exhaustion, heat stroke, they are all symptoms of the heat wave. But heat exhaustion is just a precursor to before you will become to have an heat stroke. For every certain level of temperature, there are body reactions to it, and there are things that happen to the body. At a temperature of like 30, 35 degrees, for us here, our reaction is different from somebody who is in the temperate regions. By the time you get to 30 degrees, probably that person already has a heat stroke. So for every region, the definition of heat stroke is based on the normal temperature for that region. So once you exceed that temperature, we begin to talk about heat wave in that area. So for here, if somebody is having a heat wave symptoms, the heat exhaustion are those areas where you begin to feel slight dizziness, you feel weak, you are losing too much of
fluid,
sweat, too much of fluid in your body and all. And you feel weak, there's muscle ache because of that dehydration. And you feel tired and all. Those are exhaustions. But by the time you start having heat stroke, you begin to have fainting spells, and you feel totally weak that sometimes you can't even stand up and all. And because of the heart rate involvement in that, that's when people begin to have fainting spells and all. So it's just a move, it's a continuum of the same thing, but exhaustion comes before and heat stroke.
Let's talk about, let's now focus on heat stroke. What are the symptoms of heat stroke? How will you know when you're about to have a heat stroke?
Unfortunately, nobody should be talking about symptoms of heat stroke. By the time you have heat stroke, you are fainted. So you're talking about exhaustion. You're talking about exhaustion. Yes, by the time you start having all these things I've said about you are feeling tired, you're sweating profusely, you can feel a bit, it's just that most people will not check their heart, but you can feel a bit as if You are just not your normal self.
I experienced someone having heat stroke. She was not in Nigeria now, you know, she's an Australian, and then she had heat stroke. And she said she had it. That was the first time I actually had experience of someone having heat stroke, and she didn't faint. Okay. She just had the, you know, dizzy spells, panic attack, shortage of breath, and sweating and all. And is that heat exhaustion? I think that is heat exhaustion.
She has left the stage of it, so she's going into that stroke.
Into stroke, okay.
Oh. You know, you said she didn't faint.
Yes.
The next thing that will be happening after that, if she does not, because they are used to it, they know when they are feeling this. Okay. So the next thing that will happen after that, she will just collapse. Because at that time you're talking about she having shortness of breath, all those things that are related. Everything that affects your heart and lung at any point in time, that's the cardiac and the respiratory system, there's likely to be fainting spells. Okay. So at that period, she's going that way. It's just a matter of, for her to have noticed it, that's good. Because they know when they have it, because they are not used to it. So they know when they are having it. And you will see that during summer, people practically don't wear anything.
Yeah.
Those are precautions that people take. I'm sure maybe in our environment now, when we talk about heat wave, because of the temperature, I don't know whether we'll be able to prescribe this kind of what they wear there to people. It may not be culturally acceptable, but there are other things you can do in terms of clothing.
Yeah.
But on another note, you know, we've talked about the effect of the heat wave and heat stroke on human beings. What are the effects of heat exhaustion, heat wave on our environment?
Okay.
Are there any?
Now, because we are in the forest area, we might not experience what happened in the other side. We know that there are other environmental effects of this heat wave. Like all these bush catching fires and all these wildfires in California and all this from the heat that leads to all the, when there's excessive dryness of all those trees and all, sometimes they burst, they go into flames and all. But in our environment, all these things that affect us is, it can affect power. It can affect power because it means that people have to use AC almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you have it. So you use more of power consumption. And how many are we even getting to even say whether you want to be able to do that? Okay. The other things are that in terms of vegetation, the farmers, it affects them as well. It affects them as well because it kind of dry up all the crops and all those things. So that affects economy in another way. The human resource aspect of it, if everybody had to have a stroke, we will do the work.
Exactly.
So people will fall sick, if you don't even have to have a stroke, by the time you have the exhaustion, you just call in sick. And that will affect the work for that day and all. It's just that the way we do here, because sometimes it is lack of knowledge. We don't know we don't recognize when that exhaustion is coming. We feel it's our normal stress related. And of course, you know that when there is too much, you lose water.
Yes.
That is not without prejudice to the fact that somebody may even be on medication that makes him lose more water. Like some people on antihypertensives, there's a drug we call diuretics. It makes them urinate more. So that person is losing water more than necessary, not than in a normal setting for a reason. No, imagine now that same person now have heat exhaustion or from this thing, he will sweat more. So you are advised to take more water. Often. People say fresh water. Yes, we all know what fresh water means, potable water. Whatever water you are taking before now, take more of it. If I keep saying potable water, people will abandon what they are thinking and be searching for potable water. But we always believe that everybody will have potable water. So take water often. They don't even need to tell you. You will not notice that you are taking water. You feel thirsty. But we are not saying don't wait for them. Make conscious effort to be taking the water yourself, not until when you are thirsty.
Okay.
That's what we are saying. So take enough water. So if you are the regular 2-3 liters a day, you have to increase it to like 5. Well, clothes that are free, lighter. As I was coming today, I was going to put on this coat. And I was like, do I need this? I was like, no, maybe I need it. I'm going to move from my house into the car. I put on my AC. Okay. And I'm coming here, I'll be in the AC. But when I'm going to where I know that maybe I'm not going to have AC, I'll put it out.
Okay.
And people need to understand that in the work environment.
But won't you have sunburn from wearing light clothing? No. The sun is not just the problem. It is the heat around. And the sun comes down, hit the ground, it produces heat. And so that is trapped. Okay. You understand? We are not really having more sun than we have. It is that trap that is causing the problem. So for me, people need to understand
happens at certain period of the year. But we tend to do the same thing throughout the year. At this period, your boss will be able to recognize when you are wearing some kind of dresses.
Okay, please, let's pick this call. Alice from Ogun State, hello.
Hello, good morning. In a situation whereby you have someone close to you that is going through heat exhaustion, let me put it that way, that is overwhelmed or the heat is kind of above the normal heat, what should one do? And you don't want it to lead to heat stroke. What should someone do?
Okay.
What's the first aid that should the person do, and what should the person do to avoid heat stroke? Thank you.
Thank you, Alice.
All right. First of all, you need to first take a pause, take a break.
Okay.
For whatever you are doing, because all this has to do with you are also having activities alongside it. So you stop those activities. That's why I say you can call in sick.
Yes.
That's if you are working where you can call in sick. If you are on your own, of course, you take a break. And another thing you have to do that, like I said, you have to take enough water. You need rest. What is happening is that the insensible loss of water, that's through sweat and all, has increased. So the muscles are dehydrated and they ache. And when they ache, you begin to feel tired, fatigue and all. Those are exhaustion. So when you begin to have that, all you need is to take rest. It's rest that you need. And while you are resting, you take other precautions like taking enough water, wear lighter clothes, don't wear too much tight clothes and all. And if you have AC, I keep putting this in quotes, stay in the AC, air-conditioned room often, just to kind of rehydrate. All you can do is rehydrate yourself. At different times of the year, there should be some acceptable levels of dressing. And that's what happens over there. When it comes to summer, you see the way people dress. I'm not saying that's culturally acceptable. There's some acceptable level of dressing. But I found out that we have people at this period still wearing their coat, their suit, and they are jumping on Okada. And they are going to use that and take a walk up to some extent. And it looks as if I don't wear it, I'm not allowed into the office. But at some point in time, you don't need to do all those things. When I was in India for my training, I realized that at a certain period of time, nobody wears tie, nobody wears coats. And you think they are you are not more formal than them, but they know what to do at different points in time. So these are other things area we need to look at. So if you need to wear light clothes, as in that are free, that can give you some breeze, not the tight ones. You need to have one that have pores, where breeze can blow in and get to your body and the skin. Because all you are trying to do is that you don't want to sweat more than necessary. I said you should take more water than you regularly would do. Stay more indoor than outdoors. Avoid stay more indoor than outdoors. If you have air conditioner in your house, always be inside it or under it as often as possible. And that's if there will be electricity to power that. The other part is that you should take care of the heat trash. And that one, people talk about using powder, even if you don't use anything, it will go after some time. It will go after some time because it was brought up by something, so it will go after. Once you aerate the skin, the pores and everything, they will go. It's like when you are cold. When you are cold, you have goose pimples. So opposite.
When you're hot, you have
you have heat trash.
So if a person comes down with heat stroke, afterwards, when you're recuperating from heat stroke, what do you do? What are the measures to take? How do you handle coming back from a heat stroke?
It's like saying somebody was sick. How do you handle coming back from sickness? The truth is that all these things we are saying still depend on the heat. People have died from heat stroke. They had that exhaustion. Somebody died today and somebody said, okay, they said we should do this and then he's going to do that and somebody dies again. So the most important thing is that we don't want the heat wave. We should just stay for a little while and go away. That's our prayer. That you should go away. If you stay too long and the temperature will be building, even doing all these things may not be the ultimate help after all. So if somebody is coming from an heat stroke, the only thing you need to do is to just follow these precautions. Just follow the precautions. And that way you are better off than somebody who doesn't even have an idea of what precautions to take. There's nothing preventing. You know, I said that before. You are not preventing, really. You are just taking precautions to manage that period. So you cannot say, because I've done this and done this, I can't have heat stroke. You have to be conscious of it, that, okay, I keep doing what they ask me to do.
On a higher level, what can public and private authorities or people who can, aside from drinking water, hydrating yourself, what are the measures that we can take to actually manage the situation?
Okay. We are talking about tree planting.
Yes.
Those are part of methods that we are using to kind of reduce the effect of heat wave and all this global warming thing. And people need to understand that when they think that they want to pull out trees, they want to fell tree felling, and what do you call it? They need to understand that we are like partners to exist here. And what we are saying is that if people should, the Lagos State government has started one annual stuff on tree planting and all. Yes. And everybody is encouraged to do that worldwide so that you can have trees that can absorb some of this CO2 for us. The other part is stable electricity. If you don't have stable electricity, you cannot be talking about air conditioned room.
Yes.
The other part is, what is the minimum pay, or what do you call it?
Wage.
Minimum wage. How many people can afford to have air conditioner in their house?
Do you like the video you just watched? Then you should click on the like button and move over to click on the subscribe button. Also, you should click on the bell to get notified anytime we drop amazing episodes of Tea or Coffee for you. Adios.